All right. Sorry about that. Anyways, we just ruled out cubic, right? Okay, now we are left with linear, quadratic, or quartic. Well, let's look. We see if we don't study at all and then we study some, like we can expect to see some really great growth, right? So I would say that linear and our quartic functions would be the best, right? Because the more you study, the better you're going to do. Okay, so that would be linear and quartic for that. Okay, now which model best represents the data beyond 60 minutes of studying? So I'm going to turn all of these back on. And then we're looking at 60 minutes. So if we're studying past 60 minutes, wouldn't we expect to like keep doing better, right? Not dropping off. So again, cubic is definitely not the answer. And then,
please excuse this interruption. Thank you for your patience this morning. We're all clear. We believe we got the alarm silenced. Again, there never was an alarm or fire issue. We were testing the alarm
quartic
and able to get it to reset.
Is the blue one. And we see that like we study more right here, but then we reach a max and then we drop down. That's just not likely to happen, right? So the best options here are quadratic and linear. So these are really good questions for really analyzing and understanding what we're looking at here and what our graphs mean and really interpreting this data. So now, using the quadratic model, so I'm going to go back and look at my quadratic. Turn that one on only. What is the y-intercept? So I showed you how to do that. We just click on the graph. Here it is 56.6. And if you're thinking about test scores, you're not going to get a 56.6%, right? Most teachers are going to round that up to a 57. So let's just go ahead and do that. Anyways, that's the way Mrs. Bowling works. So that's what we'll do. According to this model, what will be the score after 60 minutes of studying? So we go back 60 minutes, and then we need to find what that is, right? After 60 minutes, they can expect to get a 94% or better, right? Because if they're going to be doing it more than 60, right? So it would be greater than or equal to, it was 94%. Okay, according to this model, how much time would a student who scored a 72 have studied? So that means we're going to go ahead and look at the y-axis, and we're looking for y equals 72. Oh, right there. So let's get as close to 72 as we can. Right there. So about 35 minutes, right? It was 35.3 there. So we're going to go ahead and say 35 minutes. And that's because the x-axis is time studied and y-axis is test scores. So according to this model, what is the lowest score this student would earn? Does this make sense? So if we take a look, the lowest possible score this student could earn, go ahead and get back on the graph here. Well, if they studied 0 hours, they would get a, here it says 56.6, but let's take a look. The lowest would be the minimum, right? So that gives us right here, the vertex is a 55.7, so we'd round that up to 56. And does that make sense? Like, can a student study for 0 or negative hours? No, but maybe they're missing class, right? So even if they study 0 hours, they're going to get a 56 at least, right? 56%. So does this make sense? I think so. Like if you don't study at all, you can probably reason through half of it if you've at least been coming to class, right? So I think, yes, this is reasonable. Okay, that's all we have for today's lesson. What you need to do is finish the second problem. So you need to run the second regression, okay? And again, we just walked through how to do that exactly. And that's going to be worth your 4 formative points for today. So go ahead and finish that. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out. Otherwise, have a great day.